Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, the place to go online and create your own beautiful website.
Hey guys, Florian from Afterlens, and it's been about a year that I've been shooting with the BMPCC4K, so I thought I'd make a video talking about what I've used it for, what kind of projects, what do I think of it after all this time, what could be improved, as well as give you an idea of who this camera is for, and as well as my thoughts on the new 6K. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one or videos of the Pocket 6K. So let's get into it. So I've already made a review last year, which I'll link in the description below. So I won't get too much into the technical part of this camera resolution or codecs. I just want to give you my thoughts and insights of using this camera on a large variety of projects over the year. I've used it for travel, I've used it for personal use, I've used it for documentary work around the world, I've used it as a B cam for the C200, I've used it on small commercials. So I get a pretty good idea of what you can use it for and what you can't. As you know, I do a lot of video licensing, so this is actually the perfect camera for it. It shoots 4K, it's small, the files are easy to edit with. I usually need to submit ProRes 422 anyway, so that's perfect. So that works really well for travel as well. I mean, like the size of it, the quality that you get, you can just put a small zoom like a Lumix with stabilization on it and you're good to go. So I've used this camera on a few documentaries around the world as well. So I shot a documentary in Shanghai, I shot one in Sydney, and this was perfect. I mean, like last year we were shooting documentaries in London and I had the C200 and we got kicked out so many times of so many different locations because the camera is so big and you get flagged straight away. And with this one, it's like shooting with a normal DSLR and no one's going to tell you anything, which is great. And we found that for gimbal work around the city or as a big cam as well, not so much for interview, but mostly for shots that you couldn't use a big camera for or when you need to be very, very small and nimble. And so we've used it, for example, in hotels with a wide angle. We've used it on the street when we follow a subject. It's been really good. The weight of it is really great. Obviously, you need a few batteries to power through the day, but to be fair, the quality that you get was very, very close to the C200 and it worked really well as a big cam. So I've used this camera with a few lenses, mostly the Lumix 12-35 2.8 because for travel and even for commercial or documentaries, that's kind of the go-to lens. And I was really pleased with the quality of it. As you can see on those shots, this was all on the zoom and it worked really well. Also, I've used the Mikey Cine lens, which you've seen a few videos probably recently, and that was great. Give you that kind of like cinematic experience, that nice shooting experience, the focusing, the feel of the lens, and you can rig it up and it works pretty well. And I've used it as well on a couple of Laowa lenses and that was great, you know, very small wide angle setup and the image quality was amazing. Speaking of image quality, it's obviously one of the main reasons I got this camera. A lot of people ask me, because I was shooting with the original Pocket, if it had the same kind of cinematic look. I think this camera doesn't have that kind of organic look in the same way the original Pocket did. But the footage is so much more flexible and you can rely on it so much more that, to be honest, I wouldn't trade it back. I love this camera and I think the footage is beautiful. The codecs are very strong, the dynamic range is great, and I think you can get that cinematic look, that grainy kind of organic look that you would get with the original Pocket in grading or in the way you would shoot with this one. I think when you look at buying a camera, obviously the look is important, but you also have to think about the possibilities and a variety of shots that you can use it for, and the variety of projects that you can use it for, and this one is definitely much better than the previous one. You get 4K, you get proper audio inputs, you get a beautiful screen, you get decent battery life. I know that's a touchy subject and a lot of people have been complaining about it, but when I was shooting those documentaries, I used about 4 batteries a day and that would get me through the day. Obviously, we didn't use this as a main camera throughout like the whole day, but we've used it for like a few hours and it worked really well and the batteries were not a problem. They're very small, it takes 2 seconds to change it. And I would rather shoot with 4 or 5 little batteries than a big V-Lock because then you need a shoulder rig, shoulder mount. It's a completely different shooting experience and in my opinion this camera should be kept as what it is intended for, which is a small portable cinematic camera. Cinema doesn't mean that it needs to be rigged up to a rig that's the size of a house, you know, like this is very good the way it is, and I've used it pretty much like this. Just a cage, maybe a handle sometimes, follow focus if I needed to on a cinema lens, but this is probably what I use 99% of the time, and it worked really well. So the things I like the most about this camera is obviously the image quality, the codecs, the fact that you can shoot ProRes and RAW in 4K is amazing, 60 FPS, you know, 120 FPS as well. The ease of use as well, the layout of the buttons, the menus are so simple and beautiful. I don't understand why other brands just don't do the same thing. Yeah, size and portability is great. I've rarely got that image quality in such a small form factor. And the screen, like a beautiful 5-inch screen that's actually kind of bright enough to shoot outside. And obviously if you're in full sun, like on the beach or in the snow, like might be a bit hard, but it's a lot better than pretty much any built-in screen that I've used. Obviously there are things with this camera that can be improved. I think you have to keep in mind first that this is a $1,250 camera. I wish the battery would last a little bit longer, like maybe closer to an hour. I wish that there was an anamorphic mode, but I know that it should be coming in the next few months based on what Blackmagic released the other day. And obviously the screen, whilst I love it, it would be nice to have it tilt a little bit, just to move slightly and maybe to be a bit brighter. But you know, that's when you think about this camera being $1,300, you can't really complain about these kind of things, because I've used a lot of cameras over the past year, and bang for buck, this is by far the best camera ever. This has been probably the most fun camera I've ever used. I wouldn't say it's my favorite camera, because I think it just kind of relates to what you're shooting and how you use it. I love my C200, and I love this one for travel, video licensing and big cam. You can definitely use this for big projects and as your main camera, but I think for me, because I own the C200, I'm happy to use the C200 for long form documentaries and full-on commercials, and use this as kind of like a fun camera that's nearly as powerful. So it's not a perfect camera, but it's very close. I've been shooting with Blackmagic since the first Pocket got released in 2013, so the fact that I was actually shooting with the original Pocket until last year in 2018 means that there's definitely something about those products and the image quality and what you get for your money. I think what they've done with this one is just listen to people's feedback and gave as much as it could within price and what was available at that time. I would recommend this camera to anyone who is interested in getting into filmmaking, or to anyone that's already involved in filmmaking but that wants something that's fun to shoot with and still gives you that nice quality cinematic image. Obviously, if you're watching this video, it's either that you're interested in getting one or you've already had one and you're just interested in what it is to shoot for a year with it. I think if you want the best image quality for the price, this is it. There's a reason why this camera is popular, and I'm happy that things are moving into that direction now. Like, just go for it. You can't really go wrong with that. So I've just received the 6K as well. So I just wanted to talk about it and let you know what I think of it and why I've decided to get one. So for me, I love the Pocket, and I could keep this one and be very happy. The only thing is, I own a C200 Canon and I own a 5D Mark IV and a lot of EF lenses. So for me, being able to get the same image quality, the same form factor, but with the mounts that make sense for me, as well as a Super 35 sensor, which is what I've been using for years now, and I'm very attached to that look and that format, that depth of field. So for me, it makes sense. Obviously, it's double the price, and I wouldn't say that you get double the quality or double the amount of features, but you do get a camera that is slightly more future-proof, and with the mount that it's not as flexible, because Micro Four Third is very flexible. But for me, having 4, 5, or even 6 EF lenses, being able to invest in lenses and being able to share those lenses between the 2 or 3 bodies is a huge plus. I still think I'm going to shoot 4K ProRes most of the time. Obviously I'm interested in trying 6K and see how it goes, but it's a lot more data, you need a lot more computer power, and I love shooting 4K ProRes. I think it's a really good combo between quality and resolution and codecs.
As mentioned before, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. We have been using Squarespace for more than 5 years now. After weeks of searching for the best platform to create our website, we decided to go with them as it allowed us to showcase our work exactly the way we wanted. Since we are filmmakers and photographers, we needed our content to be the main focus and for it to be updated quickly and often. It was really easy for us to create banners and galleries for all of our travel content, as well as display our videos in a clean and effective way. Squarespace is easy to use, there's plenty of templates to choose from, and on top of that you get 24/7 customer service when you need help. Go to squarespace.com for free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/offtoLens to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain.
So let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm also curious to see how you guys use this camera, so let me know in the comments below and let me know if you decided to stick with the 4K or if you decided to get the 6K and why. Stay tuned for more videos with the Pocket 6K. Thanks for watching guys, and hopefully this was helpful to you. I don't know if you're looking to buy the Pocket or still deciding between the 4K and the 6K. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.